Today we've got a big update from Jagex called the Interface Uplift Round 2. Now that might sound innocuous, but if we scroll down all the way here to the bottom, you will see that they are actually adding trade restrictions in here. Jagex likes to hide stuff like that in big blog posts just to trick us, but whatever. We start off here with a list of known issues, which is par for the course because Jagex can't seem to get out a single update anymore without introducing some kind of issue to the game. Then if we keep scrolling down, we get to the Interface Uplift. We got stuff like the minimap toggle on desktop, which of course this is for the official client. It's already a thing in RuneLite. Scroll down here, you can quick start Verzik now, so you can basically troll your raid by accidentally clicking quick start on her, which is funny, I guess, but I'm not really sure how useful this is. I mean, it probably saves you like 1 or 2 ticks. I'm not opposed to it, but I do think the trolling potential is immense. Then if we scroll down here, they are actually changing the rune pouch loadout system. They are adding the ability to name your loadouts and giving you 10 loadouts to play with. So instead of, I believe it was 4 or 5 before, now it's 10 different setups that you can put into your rune pouch, and you can give them names. Now, unfortunately, it seems like they've only given them names of bosses, which isn't incredibly useful because how many different rune pouch setups do you have for bosses, right? I use one for ancients, one for lunar, and one for regular spellbook, and then another one for thralls. I don't think it's that common for people to have specific rune setups for every single boss in the game, but I'm sure this is really good for 1 or 2 people out there. I think that if they want to make this actually work, they should just let us name our own loadout slots ourselves instead of giving us a drop-down list. So then we scroll down here, we get to fairy ring search functionality. You can now search for destinations by name, so you can type in the fairy ring code and it will automatically swap to those selections. Now, of course, that's something that's been available on RuneLite for a very long time, and this is just them adding it to the official client. And then we keep scrolling down here, we got stash updates. Ever finished a clue step, tallied away, and realized you're still rocking that mismatched clue outfit? We've all been there. They're now officially allowing you to stash things directly from your equipped slots, which means you no longer have to take off your gear that you got from the stash unit to put it back into the stash unit. You can just click on the stash unit and get it taken off your character immediately, saving you like 3 clicks. But you do have to turn it on in the settings, so make sure that you go in and do that. Down here, we've got combat achievements remembered, and this is basically them changing it so that it will remember where you were the last time you closed the combat achievements, which is good because the combat achievements menu is the most garbage menu in the game. It's so difficult to navigate for absolutely no reason, and I don't understand why they designed it this way. But at least now you only have to mess around with it once to get it to where you need it. We scroll down here, they've actually updated the pass energy barrier thing in Port Phasmatis, which means you no longer have to listen to the ghost dude yap in your ear every time you go into the port. The Chompy Hat menu has also been updated. Basically, instead of going through a bunch of annoying dialogue options, you no longer have to listen to Rant's yap, and he will just give you a little menu where you can choose which hat you want. Down here, you'll see you can also now store your Chompy Hats in the armor case in your player-owned house, which is great for all those people who love the Chompy Hat fashionscape, I guess. Down here, they have updated the Chambers of Xeric rewards chest. It now includes a bank all button, letting you put stuff right into the bank. And now, this is where we get to the big stuff. Sunfire splinters at Doom. We need to talk about splinters, and not the kind you get from playing with wood. Since Doom's release, we've noticed that the value of Sunfire splinters has decreased significantly. Although the splinters gained per player at Doom are fairly modest, around 400 an hour, the sheer number of players engaging with Doom for its uniques has led to millions entering the game passively. This has had a significant impact on their value and on other pieces of content such as the Coliseum, where splinters play a major role. As such, we're removing Sunfire splinters from Doom's loot table with today's game update. We know splinters are an important resource and we want them to remain valuable and rewarding to earn. However, it's clear that they can't come passively from another highly engaged activity. Instead, we see potential for a future activity designed specifically around splinter acquisition, one that provides a healthy, sustainable supply without overwhelming their value. We understand that this decision may disappoint you, but please know it has been made with the long-term health of the game in mind. Doom should be about chasing its uniques, while the Coliseum should remain a rewarding and valuable endgame activity. By removing the splinters from Doom, we're protecting the Coliseum's integrity and ensuring its rewards remain worthwhile in the long run, without being unintentionally undermined. Now, I do think that this is an overall good change, but not for the reason that they think it is. The reason that there have been millions of these things put into the game is because Doom is completely overwhelmed with bots. If you go there on any world, you're just going to see all sorts of people dressed up in Huey armor botting Doom, and none of them will actually show up on the Doom high scores because you only show up on the high score if you've gotten to at least Delve level 8. But all these bots do is they go in, they go to level 1, they beat it, and they leave. Really, if they want to address this, they shouldn't just take Sunfire splinters out of Doom. They should just address the botting at Doom because it is out of this world. It's really bad. Regardless, We go down here, you have the Halloween related challenges, some community events. They're going to do a pumpkin carving competition, so get out your chisels and make a nice OSRS themed pumpkin, I guess. We've got some prizes. You can get a mug, you can get a hat, you can get a keychain, and then we've got a challenge here, play run challenge. We've got JMods draw your Halloween suggestions, just a bunch of, you know, community involvement. Then we've got new merch from the Old School RuneScape team. We've got Makeship making a few new plushes. You've got the Varrock stray dog, you've got a capybara, you've got Zanuck, and you've got the highly anticipated Thurgo plushie. Down here though is the biggest change: trading restrictions in PvP. Now you might remember trading restrictions in RS3 are what ruined the game, but luckily this is much less expansive and kind of makes sense. Some sneaky players were using alternate accounts to deliver food and potions mid-fight, cutting out a lot of the risk that makes PvP thrilling. That's no longer possible. If you've been in combat within the last 15 ticks in the wilderness, deadman, or PvP worlds, you can't pick up food or potions that are on the floor. If you've been in combat within the last 20 ticks in deadman or PvP worlds, you can't trade either. Multi-combat zones are unaffected, so group fights can carry on as usual. Risk is what makes these worlds exciting, and we hope these changes will keep fights fairer and more intense. Now, I think what they're doing here, it makes sense for them to do. It does kind of affect singles plus combat, I guess, but for the most part, this entirely makes sense. My only problem with it is it just adds another layer of annoying rules that nobody's gonna know, especially because they snuck it in at the end of a pretty long blog to the game, right? Like, you already go into the wilderness and nothing works. Everything's different there. It's not intuitive at all. Unless you PvP every day, you don't know the rules of the wilderness, and they just made it so much more difficult for people to understand what's going on by adding another arcane rule at the bottom of a blog post. I don't understand why they do this. This is something that they need to make very clear, because the wilderness is already too confusing for the average player. But that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think of that? Let me know in the comments. Then we've got the extra changes that didn't fit into any category. Guardians of the Rift enjoyers should now find that the entrance barrier can only be locked on non-Guardians of the Rift themed worlds. Previously, the list of worlds was inaccurate, so one world was missed, which is a major oversight from Jagex, because apparently they could just lock people out of Guardians of the Rift on themed worlds. Joining Blood Moon mid-Jaguar phase will now correctly show the right Jaguar safety circle straight away, instead of briefly displaying the wrong one. And then they put in, edit, this has been reversed because we messed it up. The Virtus set had the wrong Ancient Magics displayed, and they fixed that. They fixed an issue where completing Enter the Abyss allowed people to receive Abyssal Demon Slayer tasks without Priest in Peril or Fairy Tale Part 2, so just a weird bug fix. Slayer Masters will now respect your combat level if enabled, even with the Slayer cape equipped. Players can now speak to any Slayer Master to cancel a task for free that is not possible to complete based on quest requirements or Slayer level, in case you have received a task you were ineligible for in the prior weeks. The weeds in the Mauritania herb patch have been restored to their proper dark green color, matching the rest of the region's gloomy vegetation. Hovering over the world map icon now displays world map, so basically just another thing that is in RuneLite already. A rogue full stop has been spotted, rounded up, and removed. They fixed the level 93 Myrditch shortcut, so it's no longer weird. And then they made it so that buying a piece of the Tithe Farm outfit no longer causes the collection log to increment the items counter by 2. And that's basically it, signed off by all the JMods. So let me know what you guys think about this update in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.